Alright, Stalker, the enhanced editions, are they good? Are they worth it? Basically, I'm not gonna waste your time, I'm gonna start right away with the review, then afterwards we're gonna do some comparison stuff about what actually changed in the enhanced editions, as you can see on your screen right here, and then after that we're gonna talk about the blurriness problem that is in the enhanced edition, how to get rid of it, at least partially, and I will also give you as a bonus some commands to put in your console so you make your game look a little bit better, and at the end I will give you my full thoughts about this whole situation, about this whole thing, about the enhanced editions. Okay, so the review, is it good? Is it worth it? Basically, it is good for new players. So if you're a new player, you never played Stalker before, or you played Stalker 2 and you are wondering whether you want to play the original games or the enhanced edition for your first experience, then yes, the enhanced editions are overall better for you as a new player, right? They have better visuals, accessibility, quality of life features for like the controls and all that. So overall, it is way better for you as a new player. So if you're playing for the first time, play the enhanced editions instead. They are quite decent. Now, for existing players, is it good? Not so much, right? Like, unless you want to hunt for like achievements, right? Because like they do now include like achievements for Steam and all that, there is basically no reason to replay the original trilogy using the enhanced edition, right? You better off just like play the mods. For me personally, for example, if I want to play the trilogy again, I will just go play the mods. I'll play like Radiophobia 3, Autumn Aurora, Last Fallout Overhaul for Clear Sky, or ABR CS mod, ABR Cop mod, Gunslinger, Open X-Ray, right? If I want to play Stalker in general, I will go play Stalker Gamma, right? So like for us, like the fan base, there is pretty much no reason to go and replay the original trilogy using the enhanced edition, right? Unless you want to go for the achievements, of course, so there is that at least. But other than that, there's basically no reason to replay them using the enhanced edition. So basically, the TLDR, for new players, it is good as a first-time experience, especially for the people who are like a little bit more sensitive to like old games and janky games. Like, they are still old, they are still janky, but they are way better than the original games as a first-time experience, okay? For the existing player base, not so much, right? So this is basically the review of the enhanced editions, okay? So let's talk about what actually changed in the enhanced edition. The first thing is a little bit discreet, a little bit like under the hood, not really talked about a lot, but it is actually the engine of the game. The engine of the game has been upgraded from DirectX 9 to DirectX 12, right? Which is a pretty big jump. So it did get updated, and also it now has support for multi-threading, which is basically, it removes the limit of the one core usage for your CPU. Basically, the old engine only uses one core of your CPU. So the performance of the game gets limited by that only using one core of your CPU, right? But the new engine has multi-threading now, which means it uses all the cores of your CPU, so it uses the full power of your CPU, and also that basically enables your GPU to also use its full power as well. It will not get bottlenecked but by only that one core, right? So this is really good. And why it is very important is because of the mods, right? Because most of the mods and the huge mod packs and all that, they are on the old engine, right? So if modders can somehow learn how to import those changes from the new engine to the old engine, and make the old engine also support multi-threading, then like big mod packs like Gamma, for example, you reach a certain point in the game where the game is so populated and you have so many items and everything that the game does not handle the one core limit very well, right? It will start lagging, it will limit your performance, it will bottleneck your GPU, and it will just reduce your performance overall because of that bottleneck, right? But if they can manage to do multi-threading with the new engine to the old engine, then that problem is basically gone, and your CPU will use all of its core and it will enable your GPU to give you better performance, right? So the multi-threading is very important. It's basically like the holy grail, like it's like the last missing puzzle of the modding community for Stalker, right? So if we can manage to do that, that would be very, very huge, right? So this is why it is pretty important, right? So what also changed is, again, the DirectX 12, which means better lighting. As you can see here in my video that I did, like the lighting is pretty significant, right? As you can see, better reflections, the rendering grass, the LODs, the better sky textures and all that. So the main points that are like the main things that are better is the rendering distance of the LODs and the grass shadows, okay? Also, the reflections, which is the screen space reflections and screen space shaders as well, and the better skybox textures and all that. So these are the main visual points that changed in the game, right? As that you will see 100% of the time, right? Now there is the conditional changes, which is the lighting system, right? The global illumination. Why is it conditional? Because again, if we take a look, for example, inside the ship, when I am inside the ship, there is no sunlight coming in, right? So there is no natural lighting, which means, as you can see here, the games look almost identical, except like the sharpness of the original, of course. So there is pretty much no difference between the two because there is no sunlight, right? Or it also happens in like rainy weather where there's no sun and all that, right? But as soon as you go out and there is actual sunlight, as you can see, the difference is pretty insane, right? You can see the better textures, better LODs, rendering distance of the grass as well, the grass shadows, the reflections, like the volumetric fog, volumetric lighting, like it is way, way better. It's insane, right? So this is pretty good, but again, it's only conditional because you do need clear weather to see these changes, right? If it's, for example, raining, the games pretty much look identical except for like the better rendering distance, the LODs, the sky textures and all that. That's why I said like those are the main changes, because as you can see right here, it's raining in the enhanced edition, and like the original game pretty much looks the same except for like the better, like as you can see, better reflections, better shadows, like when like the lightning actually hits. As you can see, like the grass will also cast shadows, so that is also pretty good. The sky boxes are way better as well, so there is that, right? So that is the main basically changes in the visuals, right? And also, I mean, there is some downsides too. As we talked about the blurriness, we're going to talk about it a little bit later on, how to basically fix that a little bit. And also there's engine limitations, as you can see with the screen space reflections. Because of that, it only reflects what you actually see. And it's also on 4:3 aspect ratio. I think that's why you get like this weird edge bug, as you can see here. Even when you move around, like the shadows, like the reflections also move around with your mouse as well, as you can see right here. You see this, right? And also it only renders the reflections of what you are seeing. So if you don't see that, it will not be rendered, right? So there is still some engine limitations, but overall it is way positive. It's way better, right? So this is basically what changed visually, right? Now, apart from the visuals, we also have the cutscenes. The cutscenes are way, way better, as you can see right here. Like, it is way higher quality. And also, speaking about cutscenes, as you can see right here, they do now include subtitles as well, right? So this is really, really good accessibility for a lot of people, so you actually like know what's actually happening in the cutscenes if you decide to play on like the original language. And you have like cutscenes on like with subtitles with English, then you actually understand what's going on, right? So that's pretty decent accessibility options. And again, the cutscenes do look way better, way sharper. I mean, it is AI upscaled. They do lose a little bit of like the texts and a little bit of like the inscription stuff, because of the AI upscaling, but overall it is way sharper. It has way higher fidelity, which is pretty good. Okay, so talking about like a little bit of like the subtitles and all that, let's talk about the UI and the menu changes, right? So as you can see, the menu, if you see right here, we have the HUD elements. I mean, everything about the UI, the HUD, all that, they also got AI upscaled. Now, AI is not technically bad, but like if used correctly, of course, but sadly they did kind of use it in a lazy way. So there is a lot of like misalignments in the HUD elements. There is a lot of like loss of like textures, misplacements, as you can see right here. Also, if we check, for example, the inventory, as you can see, there's misplacements right here as well. Some inconsistencies. You can see the icons on the original, they got removed in the enhanced edition for whatever reason, right? So there is that as well. The text box is not that much difference. Now you have a greenish glow up when you select an option instead of the original orange one. You do also have some hints for like the controls that you can use, so it is a little bit more clear now, which is, I mean, it's pretty good accessibility. The trade window didn't really change that much except for like the currency. They changed it from rubles to Soviet rubles instead, and some couple of hints, as you can see right here, but overall nothing that big. Just as a bonus too, as you can see, the can of like energy drink, they did change it from the original one, the Stalker one, to the blue one, which is the non-stop energy drink. So there is that as well, which is kind of cool, I guess. And if we take a look, for example, for the UI of the Clear Sky as well, if I can find it, it's about here. As you can see, nothing that big as well. They did like upscale some of the HUD elements as well, as you can see right here. It is way clearer and way better, but as you can see, some inconsistencies. You see the skull here and the skull here. It doesn't look really as a actual skull. It is a skull, but it's a little bit weird, right? So there is some inconsistencies, sadly, but I mean, it is what it is, right? But overall, everything is pretty much the same to Shadow Chernobyl, except Call of Pripyat. Again, AI upscaling, look what it does to the UI right here. If we, for example, look at the tooltips, right? You see the tooltips? Like, this is what it does. I mean, look at, like, what is this? How did this get approved? I'm not really sure, but as you can see, it is way worse for like the statistic bars for the like the weapons and the armors and all that. So there is that as well, right? So UI and HUD wise, like, it is way sharper. It has better fidelity for sure, but there is a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of bugs, a lot of like AI mistakes and all that. So I mean, it is what it is. They did use AI, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess, right? So talking about UI and HUD elements, let's take a look at the game itself. Let me just turn on the game capture right here. We have Stalker Shadow Chernobyl. Well, as you can see, the menu here, there is some ads now in the menu, so you can go to like the store, the Steam and all that. They did change the title of Chernobyl to Chernobyl, which is, I think, the Ukrainian transcription of the word, so there is that as well. They did change a lot of like localization for like the PDA, some names of the location, some dialogue stuff. They did change some like localization. I mean, it is what it is. It is understandable, but yeah. And if we take a look, for example, at the options, the video options is way better now. They do have some presets, as you can see here. They do have a resolution. It's default windowed borderless now, which is pretty good. And speaking of this, you can actually capture the game using OBS with game capture now. You don't have to use the annoying display capture anymore, which is pretty buggy, especially in like high FPS, like jagging and all that. So there is that as well, which is pretty good quality of life for like content creators and all that. So that's pretty cool. VSync, they do now have frame limits, so you can actually limit your FPS if you're having like 300 FPS, if you have like a decent PC and your GPU starts dying because of that, with that like that weird annoying noise because you're having too much FPS. So you can fix this with just limiting your FPS from the menu now instead of doing it in the control panel and all that. They do have field of view slider now, which is pretty good, so you don't have to install a mod for it anymore, which is pretty cool. Advanced options pretty much the same, but they did add some anti-aliasing modes, and they did also add the main changes of the visuals and the lighting, as we said, which is the screen space shadows, reflections, and screen space global illumination as well. So this is pretty cool, and they do have now included the FSR upscaling in the game because of the DirectX 12. Okay, so this is pretty good. I mean, it's set on native. Don't use quality and all that. They are pretty bugged and way blurrier than it should be. So don't use always use native. And you can also disable the GI to basically bring back the old system, which is the screen space ambient occlusion only. So obviously, it's way worse than this, so I recommend just keeping this on. And that's about it with the advanced options. Sound-wise, nothing really has changed. They did some improvements in the sounds and all that. Game-wise, nothing has changed, nothing significant. They do now have the separation for like voice and subtitles, so you can basically select, I don't know, Italian with English subtitles or whatever, right? So you can pretty much like separate them and do it as you like, which is pretty good accessibility. Control wise, they do have now some options for like toggling crouch, toggling sprint, which is pretty cool. Full keyboard and mouse support for consoles and full controller support for PCs as well, so you can actually change it from here, which is pretty cool. Control wise, they did fix it, but before the latest patch, which is the 1.02, the mouse buttons didn't work. Like the thumb buttons, as you can see, mouse button 4, mouse button 5, they didn't work, but now they do work. So they did fix it, which is pretty good. Other than that, nothing much of a change right here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the menu, right? So let's load a game real quick just to see what's happening. As you can see on the bottom right, there's like that spinning PM as a loading thing. I mean, I don't really mind it, but it is what it is, whatever. So we jump into the game. As you can see right here, I am in the Cordon Village, the Rookie Village. So what am I gonna show you right here is the console. As you can see, if you open the console now, before you had to actually use the exact command to actually enable it, but now you can just type the command and it will give you suggestions for what's in there already. For example, loom scale, you only tap that and you can actually use the arrow keys to select the suggestions now, just like anomaly and all that. So this is really good to basically quicken how you can basically input the commands, which is pretty cool. So you can just do this, put it at 3 or put it at 2, put it at 1 by default, right? It basically controls like the intensity of the sun, which is pretty cool. So that's a pretty good change as well. And other than that, I mean, this is pretty much what changed overall in the enhanced edition. If you want to go a little bit more detail, if you want to go and actually check for yourself and you actually want to see what changed, then you can check out my video right here. It's basically at 4K, as you can see right here. It's all 3 games combined. I did upload it like 1080p, but YouTube has like a limit bitrate for 1080p, so it was a little bit pixelated, but now it's in full 4K. You can see every single detail, as you can see right here. So it is pretty good. Combat testing, UI stuff, as I showed in the video, and everything else. So you can check it out right here if you want to go and see everything for yourself, right? But other than this, this is pretty much the brief explanation of what changed in the enhanced edition. Okay, so let's talk about the blurriness now. If we take a look at Steam, they did kind of fix it. So the main problem of the blurriness is this, right? If you take a look at the game, by default, if you select a preset, right? If you select a preset, it will automatically enable the anti-aliasing, right? The engine anti-aliasing, and it will also automatically enable the FSR anti-aliasing as well at native, right? So it enables two methods of anti-aliasing by default. And the anti-aliasing with X-ray is very inaccurate, right? So both of them are very inaccurate, and they are both blurring the image way more than they should, right? That's why most people were complaining about the game being blurry, right? Because it's using two methods of anti-aliasing, right? Which is bad, right? So now they did fix it with Steam, basically with the latest patch. They did change the presets to only use one method of anti-aliasing, right? So if you take a look, for example, again here, if you check now a preset, right, maximum or high or whatever, it will only enable the FSR native. It will put it at sharpening and at maximum sharpness as well, and it will disable the depth of field by default as well, right? So that is really good, and it will also by default disable the engine anti-aliasing, which was the problem, right? Because you cannot technically play the game without FSR because of the upscale textures, just like Stalker 2. If you disable the upscaling in Stalker 2, everything is a noisy mess and all that, and it's unplayable. So you do need the upscaling to play the game, otherwise it's a noisy mess. But at least you use only one method of anti-aliasing instead of two, which blurs the image way more. So if we take a look, for example, at the screenshots that I took, I mean, I don't know if you can actually see it in the YouTube compression, but basically this is how it used to be, and this is now with like the changes that they did, right? So when you do that, you can actually see a little bit more. Like the blur is still there because of the FSR. It's inaccurate and incompatible with the engine. It is what it is. It has to blur a little bit to do the anti-aliasing, so it is what it is. But it's way better than actually using two methods of anti-aliasing, right? So as you can see here, this was before and this is after, right? It is way sharper. Not completely gets rid of the blur, sadly, but it is way better. So at least there's that, right? So that is pretty good. Now, so that's pretty much what you need to do, right? Motion blur, it's up to you, but anti-aliasing, disable it, right? Depth of field, it's way too aggressive, disable it. And also FSR sharpening at maximum with native. Okay, don't use quality, balance, performance. They will blur your game by a lot, so you don't want to do that. Keep it at native instead. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Then what you want to do in game, just to make sure that everything is working, is a command that I will show you just in a little bit. For example, if you take a look here and we type MIP, open the console with the tilde key below the escape key, right? It will open the console for you, and you basically type MIP and you select this one, MIP bias, right? Select with enter, and you want to put it at -4. You want to put it at the lowest you can do, which is -4, right? By default, it's only -0.5, which is not the full potential that you can do. So put it at -4 instead. As you can see, everything will get way sharper, right? As you can see right here, it will get way sharper, right? I don't know if you can see the difference here, but it will get way sharper. I don't know if you can actually see it, right? But what this basically does, if you put it, for example, at 1.5 instead, you can see everything gets a little bit more bulky. Like it loses a lot of details. If you go to 4, it's pretty crazy, as you can see, right? It's almost a cartoon. But yeah, that's why you put it at -4 at the lowest setting you can do, because that will give you the exact size of the textures without basically changing their texture size, right? It will give you the native texture size of the textures, so it looks way sharper, right? So that's the last thing you want to do to basically eliminate a little bit of that blur coming from the FSR, right? So this is basically what you want to do. Also, speaking of commands, as you said, a little bit of a bonus for you to make your game look a little bit better is the R1 lighting, right? So if you open the console, as you can see, the campfire for me is illuminating a lot more, as you can see. Like the lighting is reaching all the way up there because I am using a special command which is called, if you just open the console, type allow, right, and select this option here, which is allow R1 lights, right. Select it and you will have it at 0, right. As you can see, the lighting is way different, right. It's not enabling the dynamic lighting for the dynamic lights, basically, right? Like campfires, lamps on the wall, and all that, right? But if you do enable it, it will enable the dynamic lighting. So just type 1, and as you can see, it will actually enable the lighting from these dynamic lighting source, right? As you can see, way better, right? 0, 1, right? That's the campfire. If we go take a look at the campfire here, it actually does like why are they sitting like that? It will enable shadows from like NPCs as well, as you can see right here. 0, you see this, and then 1, it actually illuminates around it, which is pretty good. Same with like light bulbs as well. As you can see, the light bulb from there, it's way more realistic instead of off, right? As you can see, it's not that good, it's not that realistic, but at 1, as you can see, it's way better, right? At least for me. I'm not sure if it looks better for you, but for me, it is way better. So I'd rather play like this than at 0, right? As you can see, this is 0, and this is 1, right? So this is what you can do, and it's not just in Shadow Chernobyl, it's also in Clear Sky. You can do that in Call of Pripyat as well. You can do that. However, don't do it in the originals, because the originals, this command is really buggy and it's not well optimized. The dynamic lightings are not optimized in the original games. It will basically half your FPS. It will completely destroy your FPS if you do that in the original games. But in the enhanced edition, because of the DirectX 12, it's now optimized, and it now actually works without reducing too much of your FPS, right? So I mean, it does cost still a little bit of FPS, right, but not so much, right? So if you can afford it, then do it. I mean, it looks way better, at least personally, right? So this is basically what you can do with the commands. Also, one more thing, just as a bonus as well, if you type loom scale, right, the first one is basically how intense the sun is. So by default it's 1. You can put it at 3 at maximum. As you can see, it's way brighter now, right? But I think 2 or 1 just looks pretty much good, I think. And also there's something else called the Hemi. If you call it Hemi, loom scale Hemi, this is basically the shadows outside, the exterior shadows. As you can see, it's 1 by default. You can put it, for example, 3. It's way too bright, obviously, don't go that hard, but just like 1 if the game is a little bit too dark outside, but it's fine. Interiors, then you want to only change the outside shadows. Then what you can do is, for example, like 1.5 instead, or 1.8, something like that, right? So you can increase it separately, right? But 1, I think, is pretty decent. Also, there is the last option, which is the ambience, right? So loom scale amp basically controls the lighting inside buildings, inside laboratories, inside shadows. This is the command to use it. It's 0.5 by default. If you put it at 1, for example, as you can see, it gets way brighter. If you put it at 2 or 3, right, it gets way brighter. I mean, don't use it like this, but yeah, just keep it at 0.5 or 1 if you think that interiors are way too dark and you don't want to change the lighting of the whole game. You just want to change the interiors and slightly up that up. You can use this command to do that, right? So keep it 0.5 or 1, or just adjust it to your liking. And I mean, it is pretty good, right? So you can actually customize how the game looks a little bit, right? Some other things that you can do with the console as well that I forget to mention is these 2 commands here. So you can basically type HUD and FOV. You can select this to basically change the FOV of the weapons and the knife and whatever. So as you can see, if you put, for example, 0.4, the gun is way closer. 0.5, it gets a little bit further. 6, 7, 8. I don't recommend going above a 6.65. This is pretty much 7. You start seeing a little bit of clipping, as you can see at the bottom of the screen right there. But so just keep it at 6 at maximum, in my opinion. But you can basically change it this way as well. Also, there is another command, which is, for example, if you type bobbing, which is off, right? By default, it's off, and it feels like you are sliding through the. You're basically sliding through the terrain, right? Like there's no feedback for the movement, which is really bad, right? They did turn that off by default. Now what you can do is you can basically type bob, right? Good old bob, and you basically just type on or 1, right? And it will enable head bobbing again. As you can see, at least now you have some sort of feedback while you are running and moving around, which is pretty good and way better in my opinion. I do like head bobbing because like I can't stand, like it feels like you are sliding instead of like running or whatever, right? And also one change that I forgot to mention is the saving. You cannot name your saves anymore, but what you can do is you can always save with the console. As you can see, you can just type save, right? And just type name whatever you want. For example, I don't know, 1, right? Save 1. As you can see, the game will save and it will say -1 or 1. I did type -1. Save, I don't know, B. Boom. If you take a look at the game saves, as you can see, it will save with the save named as you named it in the console, right? So you can do that still to name your saves, because I mean, like as you can see, like first of all, there's no limit to the quick saves, so it will not override like the quick saves each 5 times you do them anymore. So you have a bunch of quick saves, as you can see here, so it will get pretty confusing. So it's better to save with the console to basically like before doing certain things, especially if you want to do like certain achievements and all that, and you don't want to like soft lock yourself and do like another like hour before that and, you know, waste your time or whatever. So just save it, type whatever, I don't know, before meeting something or whatever, right? And you save it, right? So that's about it. Alright, now what do I think about this whole thing? What are my full thoughts about this whole situation? Basically, well, I don't have a script or whatever, so I'm just gonna keep it short. Just to summarize this whole thing, right? Just to summarize this whole thing in one sentence, just like Stalker 2, so much wasted potential. I mean, that should pretty much explains it overall, right? So much wasted potential. Like, they could have waited. Nobody was rushing them. They could have waited like 6 months. They could have waited 1 year. They could have waited after like the finishing of the roadmap for like Stalker 2, after they fixed all the things in the roadmap. Then they did the fully the remaster for like the original trilogy. They could have waited. Nobody was rushing them, right? And also on top of all of that, like, they had the perfect opportunity, right? The literally perfect opportunity, and one of the best modding communities ever. Like, the modding community, imagine 15 plus years of modding, of hard work modding community, right? They paved literally the perfect path, the clear path for GSC. Just follow that path and do an insane, amazing remaster of the trilogy, right? They could have just followed that path. Imagine 15 plus years of modding, but instead what basically they decided to do is to basically ignore all of that and do their own thing instead, which is like doing a little bit of like AI upscaling and just doing a lazy version of like a remaster and just rush it out for whatever reason, right? If that makes sense. So I think, like, not just for me, I think the majority of the community and the fan base, that's why they are mad at GSC. Like, that's why they are disappointing. I mean, I am disappointed as well, right? It is a big disappointment, sadly. So I mean, it is what it is. I think that's a very, very big part of why the fan base is pretty mad at all this, right? Apart, of course, there is some drama about like some historical changes and localization stuff, and I don't really care about too much drama and all that. I don't really care about it. They do have their reasons, but I mean, changing historical stuff, it was a little bit too much. They did revert it back, by the way, with like the first patch that they did add back some stuff that they removed. Not all of them though, but they did add some of them back, so that is pretty good. Hopefully they will add the other stuff as well, but I mean, it was a pretty bad move as well. I mean, it is fair, right? It is fair for the community to be mad about that, right? But other than that, I mean, there is that side of the drama as well, but most of it, I think the genuine disappointment comes from the wasted potential, as I said before, because I mean, they had the perfect opportunity to do an amazing remaster, and they just decided to waste it and do a lazy AI upscale version of the trilogy instead, right? So yeah, I mean, it is pretty bad. Like, to be fair, it is good. Like, it is free, first of all, and like, it is good. Like, it's not like it's bad or whatever. Like, it has a lot of positives, right? It has a lot of good things, as we said. The rendering distance, the visuals are better, accessibility options are better, quality of life controls and all that. They did improve the games, right? So it is a way better first experience for new players, so it will bring up like new players to the franchise and introduce them to the community as well, which is pretty good. I mean, it is pretty decent, but overall, on the side of the fan base, it is a pretty big disappointment. As we said, so much wasted potential, sadly, right? And like, I'm not even talking about like doing like huge changes, like basically complicated like mechanics or whatever, like gamma or something, which is not complicated, by the way, like a fully repair systems and all that. Like, I'm not talking about doing like some extreme stuff, but I'm just saying, like, do some lore accurate changes that you already did in your last iteration, which is like Call of Pripyat. For example, like the ability to sleep. Why not add that, right? The ability to repair your stuff and upgrade your gear. Why not add that as well? The ability to use detectors, which is lore accurate, that are not in Shadow Chernobyl, right? So why not add that as well? Add emissions, like dynamic emissions to Shadow Chernobyl as well. Like, not so much because it's tied to the lore a little bit, but I mean, do that as well. Why not change the UI? The inventory UI for Shadow Chernobyl is very outdated. I mean, it is classic, but like the one for Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat are objectively way better. Like, why not update the old stuff to the new stuff? I'm not talking about STALKER 2, that's a whole different story, but like, at least the original trilogy updated to the last game of the original trilogy, which is Call of Pripyat, right? So I mean, like, they could have at least updated like some systems, some stuff to make a little bit more sense in the lore as well, because I mean, most of those stuff like detectors and all that, they are pretty well lore accurate, right? So I mean, it is what it is. Like, they didn't even do that. Bug fixes as well, like, they didn't fix any of the bugs. I mean, like, they did say they fixed a little bit of bugs, but most of the bugs are still there, like the most important ones as well, which is the faction wars. The faction wars in Clear Sky are still bugged. Like, what is this? Like, literally, like, it is really weird. Like, you can just open up any mod page, any mod pack, or any mod like that fixes bugs, like ZRP, SRP. Just open that page, you will see literally pages of bugs being fixed. You can literally just copy paste and do all those changes for like the engines as well, modifications that people implemented in their own engine modifications, and just copy those as well and implement them into your engine as well. Like, you can literally just do that, copy paste, right, in your own way, obviously, but you have literally everything clear right in front of you. But I mean, they just decided to ignore all that and do their own thing. I mean, this is pretty much why everyone is disappointed. And again, just to sum this up, so much wasted potential. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much it. Again, if this video was helpful, please do make sure to subscribe and like it as well. It would really help out the channel. And if you want to check out other videos, and if you basically want to check out the comparison stuff that you are seeing here for yourself, you can pretty much just go to the channel and you can check it out right here, and other videos as well. Or you can just pretty much just click on the video that will appear on your screen and it will take you there, alright? And other videos as well if you're interested. Okay, so yeah, hopefully this was helpful again. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, as usual, good hunting, stalkers.
What is this shit?